Before we dive into the story, tell us where you're watching from in the comments below. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more heart-touching tales. Wishing you a beautiful day now. Sit back and enjoy the story. Maya Singh clutched her phone against her chest, watching the arrival gate like a hawk stalking prey. Terminal C buzzed with the controlled chaos of JFK International, fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows across tired faces and rolling luggage. The acrid smell of burnt coffee and industrial cleaning solution hung in the recycled air, mixing with the anxiety radiating from her pores. Flight 447 from Mumbai had landed 20 minutes ago. Her arranged marriage meeting was supposed to happen in 3 hours at the Plaza Hotel, where her parents and his family would formally introduce them. The traditional red silk sari she wore felt like a costume, beautiful but foreign against her skin after 4 years of jeans and NYU sweatshirts. She spotted him before he spotted her. Tall, broad shoulders carrying expensive luggage, moving with the confident stride of someone who owned every room he entered. His black hair was perfectly styled despite the 14-hour flight, and when he turned her direction, Maya's breath caught. Sharp cheekbones, dark eyes that seemed to see everything, a mouth that looked like it rarely smiled, but would be devastating when it did. Rajesh Malhotra, her future husband. The tech entrepreneur her parents had chosen. The man who would save her family's failing textile business through marriage. She stepped forward, traditional gold bangles chiming softly on her wrists, and threw her arms around him before he could react. The embrace felt awkward, formal, like hugging a beautiful statue. "Welcome to New York," she whispered against his shoulder, breathing in his cologne, mixed with airplane recycling and something else. Something that made her pulse quicken, despite knowing this man was essentially a stranger who happened to be rich enough to bail out her parents. When she pulled back, his expression was completely unreadable. But his hands remained on her shoulders, warm and solid, and she realized with a jolt that she didn't want him to let go. "I think," he said slowly, his accent cultured and precise. "There's been some confusion." Maya's smile faltered. "What do you mean?" "I'm not Rajesh Malhotra." The terminal noise seemed to fade around them as Maya processed his words. Her hands dropped from his shoulders like she'd been burned. Heat flooded her cheeks as the magnitude of her mistake hit her. "Then who are you?" His dark eyes studied her face with an intensity that made her skin prickle. When he smiled, it transformed his entire face, turning him from intimidatingly handsome to absolutely lethal. "Arjun Kapoor. And you just made my very bad day significantly more interesting." Maya wanted to disappear into the grimy airport floor. She'd just embraced a complete stranger, told him he was saving her career, and now stood there in her wedding sari looking like an idiot. "I'm so sorry. I thought you were someone else. My phone died and I couldn't check the photo and—" She was rambling, gesturing wildly with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. "Breathe," Arjun said gently, and something in his voice made her obey. "Tell me about this meeting that's so important you're willing to hug random men in airports." Laugh came out sharp and bitter. "It's complicated. I have time." She looked at this stranger who had every reason to walk away, but was instead watching her with genuine curiosity. In 3 hours, she would sit across from her actual arranged marriage candidate and smile politely while their families negotiated her future like a business transaction. Right now, she just wanted to be honest with someone who had no investment in her choices. "I'm about to meet my future husband for the first time. Arranged marriage. My parents think it's romantic, but really it's a financial merger disguised as tradition." The words tumbled out before she could stop them. Arjun's expression shifted, something dark flickering across his features. "And you don't want to marry him?" It wasn't a question. "I don't even know him. But my family's business is drowning, and his family has money and influence. So here I am, dressed like a bride at an airport, practicing how to smile while signing my life away. That's fucked up." The blunt assessment startled a genuine laugh out of her. "Yeah, it really is." Arjun checked his expensive watch, then looked back at her with an expression she couldn't read. "I have a proposition for you, Maya Singh. How do you know my last name? Your boarding pass is sticking out of your purse." He gestured to the crumpled paper she'd forgotten about. Come with me instead. What? Skip the meeting? Come with me? I'll show you New York. Your parents and your arranged husband will never see. Maya stared at him, this beautiful stranger who was either completely insane or offering her exactly what she'd been dreaming about for months. Freedom, adventure, a chance to be someone other than the dutiful daughter. Trading her happiness for her family's financial security. I can't just disappear. My parents, the hotel, everyone's expecting me. Send them a text. Tell them you're sick. Food poisoning from the airplane meal. His smile was wicked now, dangerous in a way that made her stomach flip. Give me 6 hours, Maya. Let me show you what you're giving up. If you still want to go through with the marriage after that, I'll drive you to the hotel myself. Maya's phone buzzed. A text from her mother asking if she'd found Rajesh yet. Reminding her to smile and be agreeable, to remember how much the family was counting on this union. She looked at Arjun, the stranger who somehow understood her desperation better than anyone in her life. Taking his hand would be reckless, stupid, potentially catastrophic. She took his hand. 6 hours, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Show me what I'm giving up. As they walked toward the exit, Maya's phone rang. The caller ID made her blood freeze. Rajesh Malhotra, her actual intended husband. She looked at Arjun, whose expression had gone carefully blank as he read the name on her screen. When their eyes met, she saw something she hadn't noticed before. Recognition. Answer it, he said quietly. Maya's finger hovered over the screen as a terrible possibility began forming in her mind. Arjun? Do you know Rajon Malhotra? His silence was answer enough. The phone kept ringing between them, each tone echoing through the terminal like a countdown to something that would change everything. Maya declined the call, her thumbs shaking as she pressed the red button. The silence between her and Arjun stretched taut as elevator cables ready to snap. We need to leave, now. Arjun's voice had lost all its warmth, replaced by something urgent and raw. Not until you tell me how you know Rajesh. Maya planted her feet, ignoring the curious stares of passing travelers. The terminal's harsh lighting made everything feel surreal, like they were actors in some twisted play. Arjun ran a hand through his. Dark hair, destroying its perfect styling. For the first time since she'd met him, he looked uncertain, vulnerable. My business partner was my business partner. The words came out like broken glass. We built a company together. Revolutionary AI platform for financial trading. 3 years of 16-hour days, sleeping in the office, betting everything on code that barely worked. Maya's stomach dropped. What happened? He took everything. The algorithms, the investor contacts, the entire business model. I held patents under his name while I was visiting my dying father in London. By the time I got back, I'd been locked. Out of my own company. The confession hung between them like smoke. Maya watched emotions war across Arjun's face, anger and hurt mixing with something deeper, something that looked like shame. That's why you recognized my name, she said quietly. Maya Singh. Rajesh mentioned you once during a conference call. Said he was getting married to secure a partnership with Singh Textiles. He called you the textile heiress like you were a commodity he was acquiring. The words hit Maya like physical blows. She'd known her marriage was transactional, but hearing it described so coldly made her feel sick. So when I got in your car, you knew exactly who I was. Not at first. But when you mentioned your last name and the arranged marriage, Arjun's jaw tightened. Should have told you immediately. I'm sorry. Maya's phone buzzed again. Another call from Rajesh. This time she answered. Double quotes. Hello, this is Maya. Maya, thank God. I've been trying to reach you. There was some confusion at the airport. I couldn't find you at the gate. Riyesh's voice was smooth, cultured, everything her parents said she should want in a husband. I'm sorry. Wasn't feeling well after the flight. Food poisoning. Lies slipped out easily, surprising her. Oh no, should we postpone? I could reschedule with both families. Maya looked at Arjun, who was watching her with an expression she couldn't decipher. Behind his carefully controlled features, she saw the faintest trace of hope. Actually, I'm feeling better now. But could we meet somewhere more casual first? It's just the two of us, before we involve our families? I'd love to get to know you without all the pressure, of course. Whatever makes you comfortable. There's a restaurant called Meridian in Midtown. It's very private, excellent food. Shall we say 7 tonight? Perfect. See you then. When she hung up, Arjun was already walking toward the exit. Maya hurried to catch up, her heels clicking against the polished floor. Where are you going? Away from you. This was a mistake. His voice was clipped, professional. The man who had bought her coffee and listened to her dreams had vanished, replaced by someone cold and distant. Wait. Maya grabbed his arm, feeling the muscle tense under her fingers. You're right. I need to see what I'm giving up? Show me. Maya, you don't understand. This isn't some romantic comedy where we fall in love and ride off into the sunset. I'm not a good person. What's that supposed to mean? They'd reached the parking garage, concrete and shadows replacing the terminal's fluorescent glare. Arjun stopped beside a motorcycle, sleek and dangerous looking, and Maya realized with a start that this was his ride. It means I manipulate people for a living now. I find their weaknesses and exploit them, steal information, ruin reputations, destroy lives. He handed her a helmet, his fingers brushing hers. After Rajesh took everything, I decided if the world wanted to play dirty, I'd play dirtier. What does that have to do with me? Arjun's laugh was hollow. Everything. You think this is coincidence? You getting in my car? Me offering to show you the city? I've been tracking Rajesh's movements for months, waiting for the right opportunity to get close to him. To destroy him the way he destroyed me. The garage suddenly felt smaller, the shadows deeper. Maya's silk sari fluttered in the artificial breeze from the ventilation system. You're using me? God, I was going to. Arjun stepped closer, close enough that she could see gold flecks in his dark eyes. But then you started talking about your dreams, your passion for design. The way your voice changed when you described taking a company's vision and making it visual. I realized I didn't want to hurt you, but you still could. Yes. We didn't try to soften it. Rajesh has been looking for ways to expand into textile manufacturing. If I could prove his fiancé was unreliable, unfaithful, not the perfect traditional wife he's promising his investors, it would tank the merger and destroy his credibility. Maya felt like she was standing on the edge of a cliff, wind whipping around her, deciding whether to jump or step back to safety. The smart choice was obvious. Walk away, meet Rajesh for dinner, smile through the engagement, and save her family's business. But when had she ever made the smart choice? Get on the bike, she said. Get on the fucking bike, Arjun. His smile was slow, predatory, and absolutely beautiful. This is going to ruin everything for both of us. Good. I'm tired of everything being perfect. The motorcycle roared to life beneath them, drowning out the last of Maya's rational thoughts. As they emerged from the garage into bright Manhattan sunlight, she wrapped her arms around Arjun's waist and felt her carefully constructed life begin to crack at the edges. They rode through the city like they were fleeing something. Between yellow cabs and tour buses, her sari streaming behind them like a banner of rebellion. Maya had never felt so alive, so terrified, so completely insane. When they stopped at a red light in Soho, Arjun turned back to look at her. There's something else you should know about tonight. What? Rajesh isn't just meeting you for dinner. He's signing the final acquisition papers for Singh Textiles at 8. Your marriage contract includes clauses that transfer ownership to his holding company immediately after the wedding. Maya's world tilted. That's impossible. My father would never. Your father doesn't know. Gosh. Has been working directly with your uncle, who has power of attorney due to your father's recent heart attack. Didn't move. Traffic honked around them as Maya processed the magnitude of what he was telling her. My uncle is selling our family business without telling my parents? For a fraction of what it's worth? And once you're married, there's nothing you can do to stop it. Maya's vision blurred with rage and betrayal. Her family's legacy, 3 generations of careful work. Being stolen by the man she was supposed to marry and the uncle she'd trusted. Drive, she said, her voice deadly quiet. Where? I don't care. Just drive until I figure out how to destroy them both. As the motorcycle surged forward into Manhattan traffic, Maya felt the last of her good girl facade burn away in the engines. Heat. She was done being manipulated, done being traded like livestock, done pretending she didn't want to watch the whole thing burn. Behind them, her phone rang again. This time it was her mother. Maya let it ring. They ended up at Arjun's penthouse in Tribeca, 30 floors above the city's chaos. Maya stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching ant-sized people navigate the streets below while her world crumbled in slow motion. The apartment was all clean lines and expensive emptiness, the kind of place that looked like a magazine spread but felt like a museum. "Your uncle has been planning this for 6 months," Arjun said, spreading documents across his glass dining table.
Bank statements,
Legal filings, email printouts, evidence of betrayal in black and white. The heart attack wasn't random timing. It was the perfect opportunity. Maya traced her finger along the window's edge, leaving a streak in the condensation. "My father trusted him completely. They built Singh Textiles together after immigrating here in the 80s. Money makes people do terrible things." Arjun's voice was bitter with experience. "I learned that when my best friend stole 3 years of my life. She turned to study him. He'd changed from his expensive suit into jeans and a black t-shirt. That clung to muscles she hadn't noticed before. Without the corporate armor, he looked younger, more human, more dangerous. Why are you helping me? You could use this information to destroy Rajesh without involving me at all." Arjun set down the papers he'd been holding. "Because you deserve to know the truth. Not because watching you throw yourself away on a man who sees you as a business. Acquisition makes me want to burn the entire fucking system down." The raw honesty in his voice sent heat spiraling through Maya's chest. She moved away from the window, closer to where he stood, surrounded by evidence of her family's betrayal. "What do you want from me, Arjun?" "I want you to help me destroy him." "How?" "Show up to dinner tonight. Act interested. Let him think you're the perfect traditional wife he's expecting. Get him to admit his real plans for your family's business on record." Maya's breath caught. "You want me to wear a wire?" "I want you to get justice for your family and revenge for mine." Arjun stepped closer, close enough that she could see the gold flecks in his dark eyes. "But more than that, I want to give you a choice. Real power instead of the illusion of security. And after we destroy him, what happens to us?" The question hung between them like a loaded gun. Maya realized she was holding her breath, waiting for his answer. "I don't know," Arjun said softly. "I've spent 2 years planning revenge. Never planned what comes after." Maya reached up and touched his face, feeling the slight stubble rough against her palm. "My whole life has been planned for me. My education, my career, my marriage. 25 years old, and I've never made a single real choice. This would be real. This would be insane. Sometimes they're the same thing." When he kissed her, it tasted like rebellion and possibility and everything she'd been denied. Maya melted against him, her traditional sari a splash of red silk against his modern apartment. She'd been kissed before, but never like this. Never like she was something precious and dangerous at the same time, when they broke apart. Both breathing hard, Maya's phone buzzed with a text from her mother, asking about her location. Reality crashed back like cold water. "I need to go home and change," she said. "If I'm going to do this, I need to look the part. Maya, if you change your mind, I won't." She picked up the wire device he'd shown her, small and nearly invisible. "But I need something from you first." "What?" "A promise that you won't disappear after tonight. That this isn't just about revenge for you." Arjun was quiet for so long that Maya thought he might not answer. When he finally spoke, his voice was rough with emotion. "I can't promise anything beyond tonight. I don't even know who I am anymore, apart from someone who wants to watch Rajesh burn." It wasn't the answer she wanted, but it was honest. Maya slipped the wire into her purse and headed for the door. "Maya," Arjun's voice stopped her at the threshold. "What it's worth, if I were the kind of man who could give you the life you deserve, I'd never let you walk into that restaurant tonight. Maybe I don't want the life I deserve. Maybe I want something messier." She left him standing in his perfect, empty apartment, surrounded by evidence of both their destructions. 3 hours later, Maya sat across from Rajesh Malhotra at Meridian, a restaurant so exclusive it didn't have a sign. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light over white tablecloths, and conversations conducted in hushed tones. She'd changed into a simple black dress, the wire hidden beneath her collarbone, her heart hammering against her ribs. Rajesh was exactly what her parents had promised: handsome in a conventional way, successful, polite. He pulled out her chair and ordered wine without asking her preference, speaking to the waiter like the man was a piece of furniture. "You look beautiful tonight, Maya. I'm sorry about the confusion at the airport." "No confusion," Maya smiled, the expression feeling plastic on her face. "I just needed some time to prepare myself. This is all so overwhelming." "I understand completely. It's a big step for both our families." Maya sipped her wine, a vintage that probably cost more than her monthly rent, and tried to channel every acting class she'd taken in college. "I have to admit I'm curious about your business plans. My father's always been secretive about the details." Rajesh's eyes lit up. Men, Maya had learned, loved talking about their conquests. Singh Textiles has incredible potential, but it's been mismanaged for years. Your father's too sentimental, too attached to old ways of doing business. Once we're married and I have operational control, I can streamline everything. Automation, offshore manufacturing, reduced labor costs. That sounds like it would eliminate a lot of jobs. Progress requires sacrifice. Rajesh reached across the table to take her hand. His touch was cool, impersonal. "Don't worry about the business side. Your role will be supporting me socially, hosting dinner parties, looking beautiful at charity events. Very traditional, which I know your parents value." Maya wanted to throw her wine in his face. Instead, she smiled wider. "What about my design work? I have a degree from NYU. Hobbies are important for keeping busy." Rajesh's tone was indulgent, like he was speaking to a child. "Though I'd prefer you focus on planning our family. I'd like at least 3 children, preferably sons." Maya's free hand clenched in her lap. Through the restaurant's windows, she could see the city lights beginning to twinkle as darkness fell. Somewhere out there, Arjun was listening to every word, recording the evidence that would save her family's business and destroy the man across from her. "That all sounds wonderful," she lied. "Well, I have to ask, what happens if something goes wrong with the merger?" "Business is so unpredictable." Rajesh's grip on her hand tightened slightly. "Nothing will go wrong. Your uncle has been very cooperative in ensuring all the legal details are handled properly. Your father doesn't need to worry about complicated business decisions while he recovers. My uncle is handling everything, every detail. It's very convenient, having someone with power of attorney who understands the importance of moving quickly in today's market." Maya's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Got enough. Get out. Now." But Rajesh was still talking, his voice dropping to a more intimate tone as he leaned closer. "I have to confess something, Maya. When our families first suggested this arrangement, I was skeptical. But seeing you tonight, seeing how perfectly you fit the role I need, I think this could work out very well for both of us." "What role is that?" "The beautiful, traditional wife who supports her husband's ambitions without question. Someone who understands that a successful marriage is built on clearly defined expectations." Maya's blood turned to ice. "What are your expectations?" "Loyalty, discretion, understanding that my business dealings are complex and sometimes require privacy. I need a wife who won't ask too many questions about where I go or who I meet with." The implication was clear. Rajesh wanted a decorative spouse who would turn a blind eye to whatever he chose to do. Maya thought of her mother, brilliant and educated, who had spent 25 years managing a household while her husband built their business. The difference was, her parents loved each other. Rajesh was shopping for an employee. "I think I understand perfectly," Maya said, her voice steady despite the rage building in her chest. "Excellent. Should we discuss the wedding timeline?" "I'd prefer something soon. The sooner we finalize everything, the sooner I can begin implementing changes at Singh Textiles." Maya's phone buzzed again. "Leave now. Something's wrong." She looked around the restaurant and noticed something that made her blood freeze. 2 men in dark suits had entered, scanning the room with professional efficiency. Security, or worse. "Rajesh," she said carefully, "did you tell anyone where we were meeting tonight?" His smile faltered for just a moment. "Only my security team." "Standard precaution for someone in my position? Your security team?" "Maya, there's something I should probably mention. After our families announced the engagement last month, I had you investigated. Standard background check. I needed to make sure there were no surprises that could embarrass either of our families." Maya's fork clattered against her plate. "You had me investigated? Nothing invasive? Credit history, academic records, social media presence? Though I was surprised to discover some of your more progressive political activities in college. Need to discuss your social media presence once we're married. Some of your posts could be problematic for my business relationships." The men in suits were moving closer, their attention focused on Maya's table. She realized with growing horror that this wasn't just dinner. It was an interrogation. Rajesh suspected something. "I should probably mention," Rajesh continued, his voice taking on a harder edge, "that my security team noticed some unusual activity around your movements today. Something about a motorcycle leaving JFK Airport with someone matching your description." Maya's world stopped spinning. The wire under her dress suddenly felt like it was burning against her skin. "I don't know what you mean, don't you?" Rajesh's polite mask was slipping, revealing something calculating and cold underneath. "Tell me, Maya, did you really have food poisoning today? Or did you spend the afternoon with someone who has very good reason to want to hurt me?" One of the suited men was now standing directly behind Maya's chair. The other had positioned himself near the restaurant's exit. Maya realized with crystal clarity that she was trapped. Maya's training as a designer had taught her to notice details others missed. The way shadows fell, how negative space created meaning, the subtle language of visual communication. Now, those skills might save her life. The man behind her chair had a small scar above his left eyebrow. The one by the exit kept checking his watch. Amateur mistakes that told her they weren't professional security, just hired muscle trying to look intimidating. "You're right," Maya said, meeting Rajesh's cold stare. "I did spend the afternoon with someone." Rajesh's expression shifted from suspicion to something hungrier. He was enjoying this. "Who? Photographer?" "For my portfolio." The lie came out smooth as silk. "I wanted to have updated headshots before we announced our engagement. Something more sophisticated than my college photos." She reached into her purse, careful not to disturb the wire, and pulled out her phone. Thank God for Instagram and for years of art school networking. She scrolled to a photo from last month, a professional headshot session with her friend Derek Martinez. He specializes in corporate portraits. I can give you his contact information if you'd like to verify. Rajesh studied the phone screen, then gestured to the man behind Maya's chair. The muscle moved away but didn't leave the restaurant. "Why didn't you just tell me this when I called?" "Because I wanted it to be a surprise. I thought you'd appreciate it. That I was putting effort into looking my best for our families." It was exactly the kind of thing a traditional, family-oriented woman would do. Maya watched Rajesh's suspicion war with his ego. Ego won. That was very thoughtful. His smile returned, warmer but no less calculating. "Though in the future, I'd prefer to approve any professional photographers you work with. Image management is crucial in my business." Maya nodded like an obedient fiancé, while internally cataloging everything she wanted to destroy about this man. "Of course, I understand completely." "Good, now, let's discuss the wedding timeline." "I'm thinking December. Gives us enough time to plan something spectacular, while still moving quickly enough to finalize the business arrangements." December sounds perfect. Maya played her part flawlessly for the next hour, asking about guest lists and venues, while Rajesh described his vision for their future. A future where she would be a beautiful accessory to his empire. Kept busy with charity work and children, while he absorbed her family's business into his growing portfolio. When he excused himself to take a business call, Maya seized her chance. She slipped into the restaurant's bathroom, marble and gold confection that probably cost more than most people's cars, and called Arjun. "Maya, thank God, I lost audio 20 minutes ago. Are you safe?" "For now. But this is bigger than we thought. He's not just stealing the business. He's building some kind of textile empire. Singh Textiles is just the first acquisition. Many other families is he destroying? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Maya checked her reflection in the bathroom's ornate mirror. Her lipstick was perfect, her hair still elegantly styled. She looked like exactly what Rajesh wanted her to be. I need you to do something for me. Anything? Hack into his company's servers. Find the real acquisition documents. I need to know exactly what he's planning and how many other families are involved. Maya, that's corporate espionage. If we get caught, we're already past the point of playing it safe. Maya's voice was steady, resolved. He thinks he's going to own me, Arjun. He thinks I'm going to smile and host dinner parties while he destroys everything my family built. I'd rather burn it all down first. On the other end of the line, when Arjun spoke again, his voice was soft with something that might have been admiration. I can have the information by tomorrow morning. But Maya, once we do this, there's no going back. Rajesh isn't just rich, he's connected.
Oh.
Judges, people who can make our lives very difficult. Then we make sure we do this right the first time. Maya ended the call and returned to the table where Rajesh was just finishing his business conversation. The rest of dinner passed in a blur of small talk and wedding planning, Maya playing the part of the excited bride while her mind raced with plans for destruction. When Rajesh dropped her off at her apartment building, he kissed her cheek with the casual possession of someone who considered her already owned. I'll call you tomorrow to discuss the engagement party details. Mother is very excited to meet you properly. Can't wait, Maya lied. She watched his car disappear into traffic before finally allowing herself to breathe. Her phone immediately rang. Maya? Where have you been? I've been calling for hours. Her mother's voice was tight with worry. I'm sorry, Mom. I had dinner. With Rajesh, it went very well, thank God. Your father has been so stressed about this whole arrangement. The doctor says stress is the worst thing for his recovery. Guilt twisted in Maya's stomach. Her father didn't know that his own brother was selling their life's work out from under him. He thought his heart attack was just bad luck, not a convenient excuse for betrayal. Mom, can I ask you something about Uncle Vikram? What about him? Does he seem different lately? More interested in the business side of things? There was a pause. Now that you mention it, he has been spending a lot of time with lawyers and accountants. But that's good, right? Someone needs to handle things while your father recovers. Right, of course. After hanging up, Maya stood in her small apartment, still wearing the black dress she'd chosen for espionage, and felt the weight of what she was planning to do. She was about to destroy her engagement, potentially her family's business, and definitely any chance of the safe, secure future her parents wanted for her. Her laptop chimed with an encrypted message from Arjun. Inside was a file labeled Meridian Restaurant Security Feed, and her heart stopped. The video showed her and Rajesh at dinner, but the angle was wrong. Too high, too clear. Someone had been watching them specifically, recording everything. Her phone rang. Arjun's name on the screen. Tell me you didn't just send me what I think. You sent me Rajesh had the restaurant under surveillance. Professional-grade equipment, multiple angles. Maya, he was recording you too. Why? Insurance. If you ever tried to back out of the marriage or cause problems, he'd have evidence of your compliance with the arrangement. Proof that you agreed to everything willingly. Maya sank onto her couch. The magnitude of Rajesh's manipulation finally clear. He wasn't just stealing her family's business. He was documenting her consent to ensure she could never fight back. There's more, Arjun continued. I found something else in the security footage. Your uncle was at the restaurant tonight. Different table, but he was there watching the whole thing. What? Maya, your uncle isn't just helping Rajesh steal the business. He's been working with him from the beginning. The heart attack, the power of attorney, even your arranged marriage, it was all planned. Maya's vision blurred with rage, so pure it felt like drowning. Her own family had sold her, not just her uncle, but apparently with enough advanced planning, that this had been orchestrated for months. How long have they been planning this? Based on the corporate filings? At least a year, maybe longer. Maya stood up, pacing her small living room like a caged animal. Everything she thought she knew about her life was a lie. Her parents' financial struggles, her uncle's helpfulness, even her arranged marriage. All of it had been theater, performed. For an audience of one, Maya, are you still there? I'm here. Her voice sounded foreign to her own ears. Arjun, I need you to promise me something. What? When we destroy him, we destroy them both. My uncle doesn't get to walk away from this, Maya. Promise me. I promise. She ended the call and walked to her bedroom window, looking out at the city lights that had always seemed like promises of adventure and possibility. Tomorrow, she would have to decide whether to save her family or save herself. Whether to expose the conspiracy and watch her parents' world crumble, or find another way to get justice without destroying the people she loved. Her reflection stared back at her from the dark window. For the first time in her life, Maya Singh looked like someone capable of burning the world down. And the terrifying thing was, she was starting to like what she saw. Her phone buzzed one final time. Text from Rajesh. Sweet dreams, my beautiful fiancé. Tomorrow, we'll start planning our perfect life together. Maya typed back, I can't. Wait. But as she hit send, she was thinking about Arjun's promise, about corporate espionage and family betrayal, and about how many people she was willing to destroy to get her life back. The answer, she realized with crystalline clarity, was everyone. Maya met Arjun at dawn on the Brooklyn Bridge, the city sprawling beneath them like a circuit board of lights and shadows. He handed her a thick manila envelope without speaking, his face grim in the early morning light. Everything you need to. Destroy them both, he said. Corporate documents, financial records, recorded conversations, enough evidence to send your uncle to prison and bankrupt Rayash's entire operation. Maya held the envelope like it contained explosives, which in a way, it did. What's the catch? No catch, just a choice. Arjun leaned against the bridge railing, wind whipping his dark hair across his forehead. You can take this to the FBI. Save your family's business and watch both men pay for what they've done. Clean, legal, permanent. Or you can walk away. Marry Rajesh. Let him think he's won, and live the safe life your parents want for you. Sometimes destruction isn't worth the collateral damage. Maya stared at him, this man who had accidentally become the catalyst for her awakening. What about us? What about what happened yesterday? Arjun's expression was carefully neutral, but she caught the flash of pain before he could hide it. Yesterday was beautiful. But I'm not husband material, Maya. I'm good at revenge, terrible at relationships. I'd have about a dozen enemies who would love to hurt me through anyone I cared about. So you're protecting me by pushing me away, being honest about what I can offer. Great sex, dangerous adventures, and probably a bullet in the head within 5 years. Not exactly what someone like you deserves. Maya wanted to hit him. Instead, she opened the envelope and pulled out a photograph that made her stomach drop. Her father, obviously taken months before his heart attack, shaking hands with Rayesh outside a restaurant. Both men were smiling. What is this? Your father? Knew Maya. Not about the theft, but about the arranged marriage being connected to the business merger. He agreed to it before he got sick. The Brooklyn Bridge suddenly felt like it was swaying beneath her feet. That's impossible, I'm sorry. I found the email chain buried in your uncle's files. Your father was desperate to save the business. When Rajesh approached him with the marriage proposal and the merger offer, he saw it as the perfect solution. Maya's hands shook as she read the printed emails. Her father's words, discussing her like an asset to be leveraged. Agreeing that an arranged marriage would ensure family stability while maintaining cultural traditions. He sold me. He thought he was saving you and the rest of your family. Envelopes slipped from Maya's numb fingers, documents scattering across the bridge walkway. Arjun moved to collect them, but Maya grabbed his wrist. Let them go, Maya, let them all burn. Her voice was hollow, empty of everything except determination. My uncle Rajesh, my father. If this is what my family values, then they deserve each other. Don't make decisions like this when you're angry. I'm not angry anymore. Maya stepped closer to the railing, looking down at the water far below. I'm free. Arjun caught her arm, panic flashing across his features. Maya, what are you doing?
What?
I'm choosing myself for the first time in my life. She turned to face him, wind whipping her hair around her face like a dark halo. I'm not going to marry Rajesh. I'm not going to save my family's business. I'm not going to let you disappear because you think you're protecting me. You don't understand what you're saying. I understand perfectly. You're scared. You've spent so long planning revenge that you forgot how to plan for happiness. Maya reached up and cupped his face in her hands. But I'm not asking you to be perfect, Arjun. I'm asking you to be honest. I told you the truth. I'm dangerous.
Oh.
Am1, did you see how easily I lied to Rajesh last night? How comfortable I was wearing a wire and playing a part. Maybe I'm not the innocent traditional girl everyone thinks I am. Arjun's resistance was crumbling. Maya could see it in the way his breathing changed, the way his hands moved to her waist like they belonged there. We do this if we burn everything down together. There's no guarantee what comes after. Good. Guarantees are overrated. When he kissed her this time, it tasted like freedom and destruction and the terrifying possibility of building something real from the ashes of their old lives. They broke apart when Maya's phone rang. Her mother's name on the screen. I have to take this. Yeah, darling. Wonderful news. Rajesh called this morning. He's so impressed with you that he wants to move the wedding up. Next week, instead of December. Al's blood turned to ice. Next week? Isn't it romantic? He said he can't wait to start your life together. Your uncle has been so helpful with all the arrangements. Everything's falling into place perfectly. Perfect for everyone except Maya. She looked at Arjun, who was watching her with growing concern. Mom, I need to tell you something. What is it, Beta? Rajesh isn't who you think he is. Neither is Uncle Vikram. They're stealing our business. Silence stretched across the phone line. When her mother spoke again, her voice was small and confused. What are you talking about? Maya closed her eyes and told her mother everything. The business merger. The power of attorney manipulation. Rajesh's real plans for Singh Textiles. With each revelation, she could hear her mother's world cracking apart. But your father, her mother's voice broke. He trusted Vikram completely. They're brothers. I know, Mom. I'm sorry. Where are you? Come home. We need to figure out what to do. Maya looked at Arjun, who was holding the scattered evidence documents, waiting for her decision. She could go home, try to save what was left of her family's business, maybe find a way to expose the conspiracy without destroying her parents in the process, or she could choose the terrifying freedom of not knowing what came next. I can't come home right now, Mom, but I'm going to fix this. I promise. Maya, trust me. For once, just trust me to handle this my way. She hung up before her mother could respond. Oh, Arjun asked, we need to get to Singh Textiles before my uncle realizes what we know. We can access his computer, find the original documents. Maya, your uncle isn't just going to let us waltz into his office. He will if he thinks I'm there to give him good news about my engagement. Maya's smile was sharp enough to cut glass. After all, I'm just the obedient niece who's about to make the family very rich. 2 hours later, they stood outside Singh Textiles in Queens, a modest brick building that had housed 3 generations of her family's dreams. Maya's stomach churned. As she used her key to let them in, the familiar smell of fabric, dye, and industrial sewing machines hitting her like a physical blow. Uncle Vikram was in his office, hunched over paperwork, looking older than Maya remembered. When she knocked on his doorframe, he looked up with genuine surprise. Maya, Beta, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be resting after your big dinner last night? I couldn't sleep. I'm so excited about everything that's happening. Moved into the office, Arjun behind her carrying a laptop bag. Uncle, I brought someone I'd like you to meet. This is Arjun, my friend from college. He's interested in investing in textile companies. Vikram's eyes sharpened with interest. Investing? Small operations with growth potential, Arjun said smoothly, extending his hand. Maya mentioned her family's business, and I thought there might be opportunities for partnership. While Vikram shook Arjun's hand and launched into a sales pitch about Singh Textiles' potential, Arjun moved casually toward the computer on Vikram's desk. Maya kept her uncle's attention focused on her, asking questions about the business while Arjun worked. Uncle, I have to ask you something. Rajesh mentioned that you've been handling a lot of the legal arrangements while Papa recovers. Rajesh, want to make sure everything is legitimate? You know how nervous I get about details? Everything is perfectly legal, Beta. Your father signed power of attorney before his surgery, standard procedure. And the merger with Rahesh's company will ensure our family's security for generations. What about the employees? The families who have worked here for years. Vikram's expression flickered with something that might have been guilt. Business requires difficult decisions sometimes, but the compensation packages will be very generous. For what? For the factory closure, Maya. Beta. Textile manufacturing isn't profitable in New York anymore. Rajesh's plan is to move operations overseas where labor costs are more reasonable. Maya felt the floor disappear beneath her feet. You're shutting down the factory temporarily till we can restructure in a more cost-effective market? Behind? Vikram Arjun caught Maya's eye and nodded slightly. He'd found what they needed. Uncle, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? Maya pulled out her phone and showed him the recording app that had been running since she entered the office. I've been recording this conversation, along with my dinner with Rajesh last night. And I have copies of every document you filed. Without my father's knowledge, Vikram's face went white. Maya, you don't understand? I understand perfectly. You've been stealing our family's business and selling me like cattle to cover your tracks? Maya's voice was deadly calm. The question is, do you want to explain this to my parents, or do you want to explain it to the FBI? Beta, please. Your father is still recovering. If he finds out about this, the stress could kill him. Then you better fix it. Maya pulled a document from her purse, one Arjun had prepared that morning. You're going to sign this? It revokes the power of attorney and returns full control of Singh Textiles to my father. You're also going to call Rajesh and tell him the merger is off. He'll destroy us. His lawyers, his connections, let him try. Maya's smile was ice cold. Because if you don't sign this right now, I'm going to release everything we've found to the press, the FBI, and every business journal in the city. Your choice. Vikram's hands shook as he signed the document. When he finished, he looked up at Maya like he was seeing her for the first time. You've changed, finally. As they left the factory, Arjun caught Maya's hand. Your phone's been buzzing for the last 10 minutes. Maya looked at the screen. 17 missed calls from Rajesh. He knows, she said. Probably, your uncle most. Likely called him the minute we left. They reached Arjun's motorcycle just as Maya's phone rang again. This time she answered, Hello, Rajesh. Maya, sweetheart, there seems to be some confusion about the merger paperwork. Your uncle called me quite upset. No confusion. The merger is off. So is our engagement. Silence. Then, Rajesh's voice, no longer smooth and charming, turned lethal. You have no idea what you've just done. My investors, my reputation, the contracts I've already signed based on this acquisition, you've cost me millions. Good, you think this is over? You think you can just walk away from me? Rajesh's laugh was ugly, dangerous. I own half the judges in this city. I have enough dirt on your family to destroy your parents' immigration status. One phone call and your father's heart medication becomes very difficult to obtain. Maya's blood froze. You're threatening my family? I'm explaining consequences? You have 24 hours to change your mind about our engagement. Show up at the Plaza Hotel tomorrow night, smile for our families, and let's pretend this conversation never happened. And if I don't, then everyone you love pays the price for your selfishness. The line went dead. Maya stared at her phone, the weight of Rajesh's threats settling over her like concrete. She'd thought she was choosing freedom, but instead, she'd painted a target on everyone she cared about. What did he say? Arjun asked. He threatened my family. My parents, their immigration status, my father's medical care. Maya's voice was hollow. I have to marry him. There's no other choice. Like hell you do. Arjun, you don't understand. He has power, connections. He can make my parents' lives hell. Then we take away his power. How? Arjun pulled out his phone and showed her a news article dated that morning. Stone Industries announces hostile takeover of Malhotra Tech. CEO Arjun Kapoor returns to reclaim stolen empire. Maya's eyes widened. You're taking back your company? I never stopped being CEO. Rajesh thought he'd stolen everything. But I kept controlling shares through shell corporations. This morning, I executed a leveraged buyout that gives me majority control of every company he's acquired, including the holding company that was supposed to absorb Singh Textiles. So you own his business now? I own everything? His companies? His assets? His leverage over your family? Arjun's smile was sharp as a blade. As of 1 hour ago, Rajesh Malhotra is broke. Maya felt something that might have been hope beginning to bloom in her chest. What about his threats? Empty. His political connections were bought and paid for. Without money, he's just another failed entrepreneur with expensive suits and a big mouth. Duh. Maya's phone rang, her father's name on the screen. Papa, Maya, Beta. The most amazing thing has happened. Some company called Stone Industries just purchased Singh Textiles for triple what we thought it was worth. We're not just saved, we're rich. Maya looked at Arjun, who was studying the river below like it contained all the answers to questions he'd never asked. Papa, who did you speak with at Stone Industries? The CEO himself. A young man named Arjun Kapoor, very respectful, very interested in preserving our family's legacy. He wants to keep all our employees and expand our operations. Did he mention anything about my engagement? Strangest thing, Beta? He said he'd heard I had a brilliant daughter who might be interested in heading up their new textile design division. Very good salary, complete creative control. I told him you were getting married, but he said the offer would stand regardless. Maya's throat tightened, was still pretending to be fascinated by the East River. Papa, I need to tell you something about Rajesh and Uncle Vikram. About them. Maya spent the next 20 minutes explaining everything, watching her father's heart break in real time through his voice. When she finished, there was a long silence. Beta, are you saying your uncle tried to steal our business? Yes, Papa. And this Rajesh boy was helping him? Yes. Another pause. When her father spoke again, his voice was steel-wrapped in sadness. Then, you will not marry him. A man who would steal from his future father-in-law is not worthy of my daughter. But Papa, the business, saved, thanks to Mr. Kapoor. Maya, money is replaceable. Honor is not. We'll come home, and we will forget this Rajesh ever existed. After the call ended, Maya stood on the bridge watching the sun climb higher over Manhattan, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. The crisis was over. Her family was safe, their business saved, her unwanted engagement dissolved. She should feel relieved. Instead, she felt empty. Why? She asked Arjun. Why? What? Why save my family's business? Why offer me a job? Why throw away your perfect revenge to help people you barely know? Arjun finally turned to look at her, and Maya saw something in his eyes she hadn't expected. Vulnerability, hope, fear. Because yesterday, for about 6 hours, I remembered what it felt like to be a good person, and I realized I'd rather be someone worthy of you than someone who gets revenge on people who aren't worthy of anything. Arjun, I can't promise you safe. Maya, I can't promise you traditional or uncomplicated or anything your parents want for you, but I can promise you real. I can promise you partnership. I can promise you a man who will never try to own you, or diminish you, or treat you like anything less than an equal. Maya stepped closer, close enough to see her reflection in his dark eyes. What are you asking me? I'm asking if you want to build something together, not just a relationship, but a life. A business partnership where your design, vision, and my resources could change how people see sustainable textile manufacturing. A personal partnership where we figure out who we are when we're not running from or toward anyone else. And if it doesn't work, then we'll have failed spectacularly at something real instead of succeeding at something hollow. Hey. Maya thought about her parents, who would be confused and worried, but ultimately supportive if she chose happiness over security. About her uncle, who would face consequences for his betrayal, but wouldn't destroy her family in the process. About Rajesh, who would have to rebuild his empire from nothing. while she built something beautiful with the man who had accidentally saved her. "I have conditions," she said. "Name them." "I want creative control over the design division, complete authority over hiring projects, and artistic direction." "Done. I want us to take this slow, date properly, get to know each other without the pressure of arranged marriages or business mergers or revenge plots." "Agreed. I want you to go to therapy, both of us. If we're going to build something real, we need to deal with our damage honestly." Arjun's laugh was surprised and genuine. "You drive a hard bargain, Maya Singh?" "I learned from the best." When he kissed her this time, tasted like new beginnings and terrifying possibilities and the kind of love that could survive anything. The world threw at it. 6 months later, Maya stood in the renovated Singh Textiles factory, now the flagship location for Stone Industries' sustainable fashion division. The walls were covered with her designs, bold patterns that told stories of cultural fusion and environmental responsibility. Her parents worked alongside employees they'd thought they'd have to lay off, and her father's health had improved dramatically once the stress of financial ruin disappeared. Uncle Vikram had pleaded guilty to corporate fraud and received 2 years of community service plus full restitution. Rajesh had fled to Dubai after his assets were seized, leaving behind only debt and a reputation that would follow him forever. Arjun appeared beside her, coffee in hand, wearing jeans and a t-shirt. That made him look nothing like the vengeful businessman who had accidentally picked her up at the airport. "Regrets?" he asked. "About which part? Destroying my arranged marriage, ruining my uncle's life, or falling in love with a reformed corporate spy?" "Any of it. All of it." "Oh." Maya took the coffee and leaned against him, solid and warm and real in a way that still surprised her sometimes. "The only thing I regret is waiting so long to choose myself. Even if choosing yourself meant choosing me, especially then." Outside the factory windows, New York pulsed with its eternal rhythm of destruction and creation. Dreams built on the bones of other dreams, love found in the spaces between catastrophes. Maya Singh had learned to design her own life, messy and complicated and perfect in its imperfection. And for the first time since childhood, she was exactly where she belonged. The end.